Yeah, all good. All good. Yeah, just go for a nice peaceful walk this morning and doing a bit of reflecting on some convos I've had in the past with different people in football around why some semi-professional footballers prefer or choose to stay and play in a non-league rather than pursue a full-time professional career in football. Well, I think there are a number of things. I mean, I suppose each individual is going to be different, different ideas, and I suppose it could be like a lifestyle thing. I mean, with some people, it might be they pursue a professional career, they need to move different parts of the country or the world even, so that could be a bit of an issue if they prefer to stay where they are type thing. They might be settled, they might have a young family, kids in school, friends, so on and so forth. So it could be down to that. Even long-term planning for some footballers, for example, they might sort of think, well, a full-time career can be short-lived, and they might want to focus on education. They might have a family business, for example. They might have a goal to pursue a certain professional career. It could be professional career, could be legal person, solicitor, physio, accountant. They're just examples, obviously, and they just prefer to do that alongside playing semi-pro. And I suppose you could argue with some footballers that probably works out financially better to a certain extent. Obviously, depending on the level. Obviously, if you talk about Premier League, it wouldn't do, or say maybe even Championship. But I suppose you could argue, yeah, maybe some players could be better off financially than playing in the lower divisions if they've got a business or a job and they combine that with semi-pro. And I suppose you could argue from a long-term perspective, the professional career is short-lived to a certain extent, and it's like, what do you do afterwards in terms of sort of going forward? So yeah, for some people that would be the case too. So that's a sort of financial consideration, but also you can balance playing and the passion you've got for the game without that sort of full-time commitment. And also, I think it's worth bearing in mind that the intensity of professional football as well, I'm not saying there isn't pressure in semi-pro football, but it's a different kind of pressure, I guess, from sort of maybe being in that sort of media spotlight to a certain degree, looking for a new contract as well at times, and more scrutiny about performances. And in non-league, you got that camaraderie, that sort of community, and that can be rewarding to certain players who're sort of combining it with the professional career. Obviously, everyone's different. You know, some players prefer, or the aspiration is to play as high as they possibly can, but there are certain players that would prefer, even given the opportunity, to stay in non-league and combine it with a professional career, and that sort of works for them. So yeah, I mean, what I've discussed here isn't exhaustive. I'm sure everyone's got their own reasons, but they're just a few things that reflecting on the conversations I've had with sort of players, the reasons for them to perhaps stay in the non-league rather than give the professional league a go. But it'd be interesting to see your take on it and any sort of thoughts that sort of you might have. But yeah, that's just sort of my take on it.